Pennsylvania's state system of higher education. 14 universities, infinite opportunities. This week, we explore the opportunities available at Mansfield University. First, we'll hear from University President Francis Hendricks.
Hello, I'm Frank Brigan, the Chancellor of the Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education, and welcome to our program, Infinite Opportunities. This is our chance to showcase the wonderful 14 publicly funded state universities scattered all over the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, providing high-quality post-secondary education. And today, we're going to take the chance to meet one of the leaders of those 14 universities, President Fran Hendricks. You know, it was 157 years ago when the classic seminary of Mansfield opened its doors in Tioga County, Pennsylvania. And 158 years later, not only is that institution still alive and well, but producing after evolution and change, growth and development, a marvelous educational opportunity, not only to the students of Pennsylvania, the country, but students from all over the world. It has a classic history, and a part of that history has come home to lead that institution into the future. President Fran Hendricks is a graduate of Mansfield University. He came away with a baccalaureate degree before going off to acquire 2 additional graduate degrees from the University of Southern California and the Air War College. He's now returned as the 19th president, having been given that wonderful distinction in 2013 by the Board of Governors of the Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education, and he's with us today. He brings a great background to this job and is really helping to try to forge a bright and wonderful future for the institution. So welcome today, President Hendricks. We are delighted to have you with us.
Chancellor Brigan, it's great to be here. Thank you.
President Hendricks, I've touched on a few of the footnotes about the important history of Mansfield University. Before we begin some more direct questioning, can you tell us a little bit more generally about the great institution that is Mansfield?
Mansfield is a proud member of the state system. We're located 40 minutes north of Williamsport, roughly 20 minutes south of the New York border. We have 2,400 students. We're a liberal arts-based school, and we're very excited about what we offer to the Commonwealth as well as to the nation.
Well, I understand there are so many new things going on, not only at Mansfield, but in our entire state university system. But as it relates to Mansfield, you've got a lot of new activities unfolding on a regular basis. One of them is a new designation that the institution has recently been awarded. Can you tell us a little bit about COPLAC?
Yes, in January of this year, we were designated by the Council of Public Liberal Arts Schools, COPLAC, to be the representative of Pennsylvania. They pick one school, public school, from each state. We now join a consortium of 28 other schools, 27 from across the United States and 1 from Canada. This offers great opportunities for our students for joint research with other schools, as well as projects, an opportunity to present, and we're very excited about representing Pennsylvania in the COPLAC.
That's wonderful, and it is very exciting and provides, I think, a unique opportunity for Mansfield, but also the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in that regard. You've got so many new initiatives unfolding within your curriculum, and one thing I really hope we can touch on is some of your 3-dimensional work that you're doing at Mansfield University. Tell our viewers a little bit about what you're doing in that regard.
You're talking about our geoscience department.
Yes.
Our geoscience department is one of 3 in the United States that has its own dedicated 3D printer. Our Tioga County commissioners last year, through a grant, purchased the printer for the university. Now our students and our faculty, hands-on with in coordination with our in-house unmanned aerial vehicles, were able to map the Grand Canyon. We're the first, this has never been done before. Within 24 hours of posting our results, we had Research One institutions from across the United States, as well as international, asking us how we've done it. And we're very excited about what this means, not only for the university, but for the 3D printing and mapping in general and what it means for our Commonwealth, the Corps of Engineers and others who could use this technology.
Something that doesn't necessarily usually fall under the heading of technology, but is an incredibly important part of Mansfield and our system, is the wonderful and recognized music program at Mansfield University. Can you tell us a little bit about one of the prides of Mansfield?
Mansfield University was the first institution to provide music instruction in the nation back in 1862, and we've built on that ever since. Last year, our concert choir returned from the World Choir Games with 3 gold medals. This counts for 9 of them in the last 10 years. We have had, over the last couple of years, 12 Grammy-eligible nominations from our wind ensemble. The music accolades just go on, and we're very excited about this in the coming years, where we will represent the Commonwealth in France in 2018 as they celebrate the men from the Commonwealth from Pennsylvania who fought there in World War I. We're looking to go and tour France at that time and play at the cemetery as they honor the men who fought there and died, who came from the state.
What a special distinction, and what an honor for the university and for all of us in Pennsylvania. It's marvelous, and again, a renowned program of music at Mansfield University. There's a great deal of work being done in our system, Mr. President, regarding undergraduate research. Most people usually assign the term research to graduate and postgraduate, but more and more across the country and more in our system, undergraduate research, because of the skills necessary, which are so important to translate to the world of work for our graduates ultimately, has become a big part of our curriculum. You've already mentioned the work that you're doing with drones. You've talked about the 3D applications upon which you have embarked. Tell us some additional opportunities that Mansfield is utilizing for research.
We just renovated our Grant Science Center, our Science Center. When our incoming students walk into those chemistry labs and biology labs, they're amazed at what they see, because typically you won't have hands-on to this type of equipment till you hit the graduate level. We're the only school in the state system who works with Cornell with reciprocal biology type things in the labs. So we're very excited about that. Again, the new science facility and the opportunities that prevails there, as well as in our nursing program. In our partnership with Robert Packard Hospital and the labs that are there, and both at our campus and our Sarah campus. So we have a lot of research opportunities for our students. Geoscience, we mentioned the drones in that. We're also out doing, with our ground penetrating radars, mapping the cemeteries in the northern tier. We find ourselves in the sciences out testing water and wellheads and things like that we're able to give back to the landowners or to the state. This goes back to that individualized, personalized, hands-on education that Mansfield has, where you find yourself in the field testing water or other type things that have come to the benefit of both the individual out there or the state.
Give us 1 second, if you will, on a very important program that's new at Mansfield. And it's not only new, it's different, because while you're doing a master's degree in nutrition, you're doing it online, recently approved. Tell us about it.
That program is building on our very successful undergraduate nutrition program. By the year 2024, all nutrition dietetics individuals will have to have a master's degree to be licensed. Our program is online so that working professional can get that certification, that master's degree, and continue to be certified. It's also going to have an entrepreneurial part to it, those who want to be in business for themselves and things like that. So we're very excited. That rolls out this fall. We're very excited about as that goes forward for our young men and women who find themselves in this area and are looking for that additional education.
You know, people talk about marketing in connection with higher education today. Some people are still a bit put off with that phrase when you're talking about colleges and universities. And yet, if you take a state like Pennsylvania, there are over 300 institutions of higher education in this state. When we talk about marketing, we're talking about informing our citizenry as to who we are, what we do, so that as parents and students begin to shop, if you will, for their higher education experience, they'll have a better time vectoring in on those institutions that seem to draw them closer in terms of needs and wants, desires and aspirations. As you're out there marketing and recruiting the great things that you're doing and hope to do in the future, what are the top priority issues that you want to punch through with to that recruiting class?
Value proposition is very, very important. When we were just recently named College of Distinction, and in the top 100 best value schools in the nation at our size, we're number 14 in the Northeast. So it's about that value. What are you getting in comparison to what you're paying? There's nothing that compares to a state system education. Being a product of it here, I'm living proof of what that means. I want the same thing for the visitors to Mansfield. Should Mansfield be the right fit for them? So it's all about that value. It's about the quality of that education and how that'll prepare them for their rendezvous with opportunity. This is all about getting them ready.
Well, I am sorry to say this, but our time has slipped away, and I hope our viewers have come away, I have, with a much better overview of so many of the great things that are unfolding at one of our 14 state universities, in this case, Mansfield University. So we thank you very much, President Hendricks, for being with us today. Thanks for sharing with our viewers, and to all of our viewers, thank you for tuning in and being a part of this programming. Thank you, President Hendricks.
Thank you, Chancellor Brigan. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Coming up next, explore more opportunities offered at Mansfield University.
Invest in me.
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 I'll be your future public servant.
I'll be your future advertising executive.
I'll be your future accountant.
I will be your future motivational speaker.
I'll be your future lawmaker.
I will be your future teacher.
Invest in me. I'll be your future videographer.
Next, we'll learn how a liberal arts education at Mansfield teaches students to gain flexibility and adaptability to prepare for their career challenges.
The primary advantage for Mansfield being a part of COPLAC is that it gives us a reference point. There's a lot of public universities in the country, and there's a lot of liberal arts-based universities in the country. But there's not a whole lot of small, public, liberal arts-based colleges.
Instead of education being something that focuses you, this is a VOTEC, this is a training school, right? If you want to go to school in order to become, you know, a vet tech or a respiratory tech or something along these lines, it focuses you out, right? So this is the idea of education as something that's limiting. Education is really a liberal education. A liberal arts education is the reverse of that.
Liberal arts grounded education is the kind of thing that gives you flexibility and adaptability over time. The world changes fast, and you have to adapt. At Mansfield, we have 4 years to teach somebody how to adapt, because chances are they're going to have 8 different careers in their lifetime. And that means that some of the jobs that will be around 20 and 30 and 40 years from now are jobs that nobody's ever even thought of at this point. How do we prepare somebody for that kind of job environment? That's what a liberal arts education does.
I came into Mansfield as a business major. The sports information department on campus here, they hire a photographer. And photography was a really deep passion of mine and has been for a long time, so I thought it was the perfect opportunity to kind of work and do something that I love doing while taking classes. We ended up learning how to do Photoshop and how to do video and everything just to make a better product for the departments. Mansfield has this great sort of balance between keeping you focused on what your major is, but also offering a broad spectrum of things to learn.
We may be a relatively small school, but we have a lot of clubs and organizations, sports teams and things like that, where students can, as a freshman, they can have an impact. And this is a way that they're kind of using some of their skills in terms of leadership. And they're learning this at an early stage, and they're practicing it essentially for 4 years. I think at Mansfield, the education that students get here prepares them very well for a wide variety of careers, which is really the most important thing in terms of student outcomes. That we want students to be able to take a Mansfield degree and to be able to adapt to whatever careers, have the flexibility to take on new jobs and new challenges over the next 50 years of their working life and perhaps even beyond.
I made the decision to say, well, I could be one of 70,000 students, or I could try my luck and do the one-on-one thing that this school offers. It's the one-on-one. That's the magic. The professors here, the teachers here, from the president to the dean of students, they all have an investment in every student that comes to this campus. And so all of them were kind of guiding my career the whole time I was here, as they were guiding everybody else's career. I was a tattered mess when I came to Mansfield, and I left here as a television marketing executive. What happened during those 4 years? How do you get from A to B? And that's the magic of this school. That is the magic of this place, that you can come in as at the bottom of the barrel and leave with rocket fuel in your back pocket to accomplish anything.
Next, we'll learn how 3D printing is being used at Mansfield University to have an impact on topographical map modeling.
3D printing's been around for a little while, but you know, it really hasn't been explored much in map making and cartography. A lot of the people who are using 3D printing right now are map making hobbyists, basically. But the maps that are being put out right now weren't necessarily cartographically accurate to representative standards. And so what we wanted to do was we wanted to kind of take this technology and figure out how it can be applied to mapping, you know, from the perspective of a cartographer, from the perspective of a map maker.
Andy and I got together with the GIS manager, Scott Zubak, over at the Department of GIS and at the Tioga Courthouse there. We basically discussed getting grant monies that were available for the printer. So that's kind of evolved into, now that we have it, you know, how can we apply this? So we've basically been trying to engineer projects that would get the students involved in. The way the basic 3D printer that we have works is that it's basically has a monofilament type polymer that is spooled. And it's spooled into the, basically it's called an extruder, but it's basically a hot glue gun almost, if you will. If you push the material in, it heats up at a certain temperature, and then it sprays it. But it has a platform in the 3D printer that basically will move up and down as it builds that model. So the extruder will pass back and forth, and it's on a z-axis where it'll actually move around. But the platform will move up and down. So as we're creating this model, it creates it in that third dimension by moving the platform up and down. So it's really pretty simplistic in the way that it works. Most of the technicality is in producing the image that's necessary and getting it in the correct form to get it into the machine.
You know, we've gotten down the process of taking geospatial data that's downloaded from, you know, USGS and turning it into a map like this in about 20 minutes. I mean, that's how long it takes. I mean, that's pretty quick. With that in mind, okay, so that's nice and short and quick, but then the map takes between 40 and 60 hours to print.
The first maps would be the Grand Canyon. The desktop software will tell you it takes roughly 44 hours, but it's probably 10 or more hours than that. We have a data share agreement with the GIS department for the county, and we take the contours that they provide us with and we turn it into a digital elevation model. We put that into a 3D modeling program and displace a plane by it, and it creates this kind of map, and we export it as a STL, and then we put that into the MakerBot desktop software and tell it to print.
We're looking at projects like mapping sinkholes, trying to come up with models of caves, things of that nature.
The maps that we're making are generally far more detailed. They're far more precise in how they represent landforms than similar maps of this type, raised relief maps that you can buy from a company or from the government.
We're wanting to basically use it as a geo-visualization process for applying to these research projects that we already have underway.
Next, we'll meet a Mansfield student who had to overcome a personal physical challenge to be a part of a team.
July 10th, 2007 was when I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. When you eat a certain amount of carbohydrates or you eat food, your pancreas is supposed to secrete insulin. Mine does not do that. My dad was a big sports guy. He watched basketball. He would go to my cousin's games. I would go to her games. I loved it. My dad and I kind of just bonded over it, and I just enjoyed it from the start. I remember I started first playing collective team basketball when I was 4th, 5th grade on a travel team. 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th I did travel, and I did CYO through our church league. And then I did JV 7th and 8th also, and then 9th through 12th I did varsity. A summer going into my freshman year, we were at a summer league game, and we had them twice a week, once a week, every so often. And I wasn't myself. I was seeing 3 rims. My mouth was extremely dry. I knew something was off, but I didn't know what. I know I can play basketball, it's just, I don't know what's wrong with me. So my mom took me to the doctors, and they tested my blood sugar, and they told me it was off the charts, and that I needed to go to the hospital. And I was actually supposed to go to a summer league game right after the doctor's appointment. And I was all dressed, ready to go, but I wasn't allowed to go. So went to the hospital, was there for 5 days, got educated on it and everything. Did shots for about a year, and then after a year, I went to the pump, and I've been on the pump ever since. There's different spots in my body that I can put it in, and it's just this catheter that's inside of me, connected to a tube. And in the pump, there's a cartridge of insulin, and it goes through the tube and into my body, and you have to change that every 3 days. So it helps, and throughout the day I'll get a little amount of insulin, just like any other person that their pancreas is producing. And then when I eat, I just say, okay, I'm eating however many carbs, I type it in, and then it goes through my body, whereas someone without type 1 diabetes, your pancreas would already know that because your body, but, so my pancreas is on the outside of me, kind of, in a way. Basketball has been my life. It's been a family thing that we've always liked to do together, to watch together. I mean, if I'm gonna stop playing basketball in my freshman year of high school, what would I be doing with my life? That, to me, that basketball is what I do.
The details that she has to pay attention to on a day-to-day basis absolutely, earns the respect of everyone in our program, and to be honest, anyone that knows her, because you're going through extraordinary measures to do something that you love.
I don't think people understand how serious this disease is, and she goes through a lot to play this game, both mentally and physically. She's always in the training room before practice and after practice. She's always have different doctor's appointments for her feet and her calves. She shows a tremendous amount of love for the game.
A lot of people would kind of let it hold them back, but she doesn't. And even when she has to sit out, if she's low, if she's high, she has to sit out for a while. She's never just sitting over there mad or angry that she can't be with us. She's always yelling, cheering on the sideline, and she's a good leader. She's someone who's easy to follow because she works hard whenever she can work, and it's just someone who you see who would die to be out there all the time with us. So when she does get the chance, she shows it with how hard she plays.
It's just part of my life, so not to have had this the past 7 years would be crazy. So I just wouldn't want diabetes to stop me from that.
Next, we'll hear from an alum whose Mansfield University education created his opportunity to become an ESPN radio host.
You know what it is, even though it's only been less than 2 years since the last time I was here, just to see how this place continues to grow and progress. We're no longer just a little school in Tioga County. That's not the case anymore. We matter, not just in the school system of Pennsylvania, but also all around the country where we have something special going on here. And anytime you get a chance to be a part of that, especially being an alum from 1987 like I am, as far as I'm concerned, the future is only going to continue to get better and be brighter for Mansfield University. When I got the brochure in the mail, I had never heard of Mansfield University. But there was something about that brochure. It was very warm, it was very inviting. And I said to myself, I've never heard of this school, but maybe I should give it a chance. And when I sent the application in to try to get accepted to Mansfield University, and they returned it so quickly, I said to myself, you know what, there's no reason for me to look at any other school, whether it's in New York or New Jersey. There was something about this place. It had a special connection, it had a special pull. And the first day that I got up here, I said to myself, you know what, I did make the right decision, but more importantly, somebody saw something in me to say, you need to be here because this place is going to benefit you.
It is an absolute pleasure for me to come back to a place that means so much to me, and to talk to you young men and young women who are ready to take on the world and find your place in this world. That's what Mansfield University teaches you, and that's what Mansfield graduates do. Our successes will be yours, and your successes will be ours.
I'm nothing against bigger schools, but you don't have to worry about being a number here at Mansfield University. You never have to worry about being lost in the shuffle because everybody is going to make sure you're going to get the proper tools and the things you're going to need to make sure that not only you further your education, but further yourself as a person to be the best person you can be and not be afraid of any competition, because the competition here is going to make sure you're ready for any kind of competition when you leave here.
I never thought I'd be a program director for an oldies station in Poughkeepsie, New York. I never expected that I would work at ESPN Radio and talk to people and sports figures from all walks of life and having more of a ball that I never could have imagined. I never thought that one day I would be standing up here and talking to all you fresh young minds and fresh young faces and speak about being a proud graduate of Mansfield University. But you know what? Maybe again, I should have. Because that's what Mansfield University taught me. This university taught me that the only thing keeping me from achieving would be me. So don't let anything or anyone stand in your way from keeping you from rising to the top of whatever you want to do. Mansfield University has shown you the way. Don't get in your own way and always put in the work. Be smart, be tough, be the best, be Mansfield. The one thing this university taught me was the only person that could hold me back was me. No matter what I've been able to do, no matter what experiences that I have had, I made sure to get out of my own way. It's very easy to talk yourself out of something, especially if it's something you really want to do. It's worth it to get out of your way and go after it. Mansfield University taught me that, and it has taught you. We are a family. We are a Mansfield family. And I hope you realize how powerful that bond will always be.
Come back next week to learn more of the infinite opportunities at the state system's 14 universities, or visit us online